All right, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I have a story time that was sent into me about a particularly spoiled individual who apparently thought that poor people have a smell to them. You know, that classic thing when you walk into a room and say, "Smells broken here, baby." Either way, I thought the story time would be funny. Obviously, you can't smell how much money people have, and even if you could, who really cares? It doesn't make anyone cooler. That being said, I thought you guys would enjoy it, so without further ado, let's hop right in. Alright, so the person who sent this in to me went to a school that was a little bit different structured. They were like technically seniors in high school, but they only changed classes 3 times a day and were with their teachers for 2 hours at a time, which is a little different than how they traditionally do it in America for the most part, at least on my end. We would change classes every hour. We had 6 classes a day. But because of the way they had this structured, obviously the kids could get to know the teachers a little bit better than the standard structure, and vice versa. The teachers could kind of understand how students learn, start teaching to that style. It makes sense when you think about it, but that's just kind of what they had. But there was one particular kid that he was with for 2 hours a day that had to have been the most entitled person that he had ever interacted with. For some reason, this kid just hated everyone around him at any given time and always had to be reminding people that he was better than them, even if they had never wronged him. I think even if you're in a fight with someone, it's obnoxious to go, "I have more money than you, I'm better than you." No one really cares, right? That being said, this kid wouldn't even need to be in a fight with someone to start getting mouthy and start saying things like that. For example, when everyone turned 16 a few years before, he had another class with him. And when he had gotten a car, he had just kind of gone around to everyone who was 16 who didn't have a car and been like, "Why don't your parents love you enough to get you a car?" Which is mad out of pocket, man. I think their parents love them. It's just not every family can afford to go drop thousands of dollars on their 16-year-old kid's car. Especially because, of course, he had gotten a Mercedes and was just reminding everyone that his car cost more than the teachers make in a year. Which I'm sure if you're a teacher just felt absolutely great. You know, you've only slept 5 hours this week, you're working your butt off to grade papers on time, only to overhear some student saying that he's driving a car that costs more than you make in a year. Pure motivation. And once he got his car, he would constantly use that to make fun of people too. But he would use that against the teachers. For example, whenever a teacher would give him a quote-unquote bad grade that he didn't feel like he deserved, he would just use the fact that he had a better car to the teacher to say why they got a bad grade. As if that has any bearing on it. But for example, let's say he was supposed to write a 7-page essay, and he wrote one paper that was just nothing but the word "meh" over and over and over again, right? When the teacher would give him an F because he just didn't even do the assignment and just repeated a word over and over for a paper, he would confront them about it in front of everyone, not even after class, and be like, "I know you're probably jealous because my car costs more than you make in a year and you're pathetic and you make no money, but you can't give me bad grades because you're jealous of my car, otherwise I'm gonna have to report it to the principal, blah blah blah." And the teachers would always be like, "What are you talking about? I didn't give you an F because of your car." And he would always be like, "No, actually, you 100% definitely did." And that would get old, but it was almost like in any argument, he would pull out his car as the ultimate argument ender. "Well, I have a nicer car than you," which I've never understood people like this. Don't get it twisted. I do like cars. I think they're cool. But I don't feel like it's actually anything you need to bring up in an argument ever is what type of car you drive. Imagine you're arguing with someone. "Yeah, man, well, I drive an F-150. And it's like, "Yeah, well, I drive a Mercedes." Who cares? Who actually cares? If you got beef with somebody and the only thing you have to talk crap back with is what car they drive, you should just drop the beef because you're definitely gonna look stupid. But he would bring it up whenever he had an issue with teachers, and teachers obviously got more and more fed up with it as it gone along. And he would be like, "Oh, you're just mad that I have a car, blah, 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 blah." And a teacher would say, "Why does it matter? Why do you always bring up your car when you're arguing with me? I don't care about your car." which is a reasonable reaction for an adult. Like, the teachers probably didn't care. I mean, sure, did it feel great that he was driving a car that cost more than they made in a year? Probably not. Does it actually change their day-to-day life at all? Like, they're still a teacher, and even then, it doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. You just start driving a Ferrari everywhere in your neighborhood, 300 miles per hour. When the cops inevitably pull you over, just be like, my car costs more than yours, so therefore you're not allowed to pull me over. When you can afford a Ferrari, then you can pull me over, fed boy, and then like slam on the gas. But whenever teachers would ask him, like, why does it matter what car you drive? Why does that change the fact that you should treat your teachers with respect? He wouldn't even explain why it mattered at all, probably because he didn't have a good explanation. He would just say that they were like stupid and poor and jealous. And if they had wanted a nice car, they should have picked a different career because teachers should know that they're going to be broke, which is just so unnecessary, man. I feel like it's just a well-known fact at this point that teachers don't get paid a ton of money. I don't think that's some well-guarded secret. But still, they're choosing to do a very important job, which is teaching you for not a lot of money. The last thing you should want to do in that situation is make them feel as bad as possible about it. Like, what is the point in that? Yeah, you know how you took a job to better the community for less money than you could have made elsewhere? You're a loser. Like, dude, do you want it to get even worse? I know in Nevada and Arizona, they just lifted the restrictions saying that you don't need a college degree to teach high school anymore, just because there's such a teacher shortage. I feel like treating teachers like this is how it gets even worse. Pretty soon, they're just gonna have like high schoolers teaching middle schoolers math and whatnot. It's gonna be a disaster. Either way, this kid was just carrying himself that his car made himself better than anyone. Anyone who criticized him was obviously just a stupid, poor, jealous hater that could not comprehend the level of swag he had accessible to him. If this guy ran on batteries, his batteries only took swag. No double A's, baby. And it was swag with at least 4 A's in it. I don't even know if 4 A's is a battery, but he was running on swag batteries apparently. Oh, my car's cooler than you, therefore I'm allowed to run you over in the Walmart parking lot. Anyways, that went on for a while, but eventually he kind of realized, shocker, that yelling at them and calling them poor and jealous didn't really work for improving his grade at all. If anything, it made them grade his assignments a little bit harder. Oh, you don't like the grade that I gave you on your essays because I'm poor and stupid? Well, wouldn't you know it, next essay I'm gonna grade the grammar a lot harder. So he shifted to something else that you would expect a spoiled, entitled kid to do and started trying to pay off his teachers. And listen, obviously teachers aren't going to be very prone to taking bribes. I just don't feel like that's something they would do. Maybe some would. But if you are going to offer to bribe a teacher, you would probably want to go about it in a way that was a little bit more hush-hush, private office hours type of vibe, just because if they get asked in the middle of class, will you accept a bribe, they're gonna have to say no. They don't really have a choice because now there's a bunch of people watching them get asked about a bribe. Doesn't take a rocket science to find out that they were probably gonna say no anyways, but when you go, "Excuse me, teacher, will you please accept a bribe to raise my grades?" in front of everyone, they're gonna say no. But sure enough, one day, it's really quiet, everyone's working on something. You know how, like, when you're in class, everyone's working on a project or whatever, it just kind of gets that, like, silent air over the room. Well, he goes up to the teacher's desk and says something about how, like, his parents are really coming down on him because his grades are down, and he was wondering if there's anything he can do to boost his grade. And the teacher starts kind of answering the question the way you would expect a teacher to. Well, I posted some extra credit stuff online you're more than welcome to do. You can turn in your missing assignments. I won't even dock you down. Here's the assignment numbers. Just do them, blah, blah, blah. Even after this kid had called him poor over and over and over again and stupid and jealous, he's still willing to work with the kid and be like, yeah, sure, there's things you can do to raise your grade, because I think he understood that it just sucks to be in trouble for bad grades. And the kid starts being like, no, I don't want to do any work. I was wondering if there was anything I could do to raise my grade. And the teacher is obviously confused because he doesn't understand what he's saying. What do you mean you don't want to do any work, but you want to raise your grade? That's not really how it works. And the kid's like, well, I was hoping there was something I could do to raise my grade. and out of his pocket, he pulls a single $20 bill. Which, listen, I know teachers don't make a lot of money, but I don't know if $20 is enough to make them potentially get fired and, like, lose their career. I don't know what a school would do, but I'm going to assume that a school would not react too kindly to a teacher taking $20 to change people's grades. And the teacher just goes, I'm not going to take that. And the kid goes, yeah, I know you won't. And goes to, like, slide it into his hand. He had seen a few too many movies, I guess, and just thought that, like, someone saying no to the bribe was them saying yes without saying yes, so therefore they couldn't get in trouble, wink, wink. But the teacher pulls his hand back and is like, I'm not taking that. And the kid has the nerve to go, why not? And so the teacher, not realizing how dumb the kid is or how smart he is, starts answering his question. Well, it's very against ethics for me to take money to change your grade. On top of it, I would get fired. I would lose my job. I'd probably have to go to a different school district if I could get rehired. Even then, you have a bunch of missing assignments and I've offered you extra credit. So if you're not willing to do that, do you just expect me to take money? And the kid's standing there and he's almost confused at what the teacher's asking him. Like, well, yes, of course I expect you to take money. Like, that's kind of the look he has on his face. And he just kind of tells the teacher, like, well, you're never going to get a cooler car if you're not trying to work with me. Which, listen, I don't think people really care about cars that much, bro. I understand to this guy, apparently it was the utmost sign of social class. But I feel like most people don't care that much, especially to risk their career. And on top of it, you were gonna give him $20. What did you expect him to do? Walk on down to the BMW dealership, walk in, slam the $20 on the table? I'll take your finest machine. They would probably ask him what type of crack he's smoking because he can't buy a BMW at that price. Even if you were trying to incentivize him to get a new car, it's not like you're giving him a new car to change your grade. I can understand why he might say yes. I'm not saying it would be morally right. I'm just saying if someone's going to give you like a $40,000 car, it's probably a little bit more tempting than $20. And that's just a little bit too insulting for the teacher. And he puts his pencil down and he's like, do you really think that I need $20 that badly? And the kid is kind of like, I don't know. I was just trying to be generous. And the teacher says that you're not being generous. You're just being disruptive. Now go sit down and do your assignment. I'm not taking your bribe. And the kid is like a little bit, insulted at the fact that they wouldn't be able to take his money, blah, 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 blah. I just don't understand why you would be mad someone won't take a bribe. Like, trying to bribe someone is already crazy, going out of your way to try to give someone money to look the other way. But being mad when someone won't take a bribe is even weirder. Like, oh, did you just expect everyone to be doing whatever you want them to do if you give them $20? Excuse me, officer, I am trafficking in 700 pounds of black tar heroin. Please look the other way. I've given you a $5 bill and a free Jack in the Box meal voucher. Anyways, the bribery doesn't work, so he just starts going back to try to bully them. I don't know why he thought that would work now. He's like, dang it, bullying didn't work. So I tried to bribe them. Bribing didn't work, so I should go back to bullying. But anyways, one day he gets into a fight with the teacher and is belittling them, saying that they hate him because he's rich, blah, 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 blah. That's why they keep purposely giving him bad grades, is because they're just so jealous of how much money he family has, blah, blah, blah. Which, listen, man, I don't think a teacher is going to give you bad grades because your family is rich. If anything, it's more annoying to fail you, because that means that they have to deal with you next year. If a teacher really hated you, I feel like the worst way they could handle you is teach you nothing but still pass you, so that way next year you fail your class and you're someone else's problem. If the teacher isn't gonna do that, then I don't think you can say that they really hate you. If they're failing you, it means that they're at least willing to deal with you another year. But one day the teacher had just finally have enough, and as he's getting belittled for apparently being poor and dumb and da-da-da-da-da, the teacher stops him and is like, how do you know I'm poor? And the kid looks a little bit confused at the questioning, and he's like, truthfully, how do you know that I'm poor? Like, for all you know, I could have won the lottery 15 years ago, be worth more money than you would ever dream of, and just have decided to be a teacher to help the community. How do you know that that's not the case? And when he says that, a bunch of students are kind of like, yeah, because they were just getting tired of it. Sure, he wasn't using it against them per se, but still, imagine every time a teacher does anything that someone doesn't like, they're like, oh, you only hate me because you're rich, or I'm rich, meh. you'd probably get annoyed. So the second they said anything, you would be like, exactly, yes, you're very annoying. Either way, the kid kind of realizes that the class isn't necessarily supporting him in this instance, so he decides to start like doubling down. And I don't know why people do that. It's probably just something to do with like pride or the human reaction to embarrassment or whatever. But for whatever reason, when people send me in stories, entitled people like this never take the chance when everyone is against them to go, oh, maybe I'm in the wrong. Listen, are there times when the majority of people are wrong? Yes, throughout history that has 100% happened. That being said, when someone says something pretty standard, which is like, how do you know I'm poor and why do you always use that as an insult, even if it matters, and everyone's like, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe listen. Maybe it's worth a listen. But he doubles down and is like, dude, you just hate me because you're jealous of my parents' success. And the teacher takes the time to point out to him again, I'm not grading your parents. If anything, congratulations to your parents. The American dream is to reach a level of success where you can, do whatever you want, take care of whatever you need. Congratulations to your parents for reaching and achieving that level of success. I'm talking to you, though. I'm not jealous of you. How do you know I don't have any money? And the kid is kind of like, well, you're a teacher, so they don't get paid a whole lot. And he says, yeah, but how do you know that being a teacher is like my main job? How do you know I didn't have a business before? How do you know my family's not rich? Like, how do you know any of these things? And the kid kind of has this confused look on his face, almost like he didn't know how to answer the question, because there really is no way. Theoretically, by just looking at someone, you have no clue how much money they have. There's tons of stories of like insanely rich dudes just acting like they're completely normal people, probably because they don't want people treating them better because they have money. Who really cares? At the end of the day, we're all ending up in the same dirt box, so whatever money you have attached to your name doesn't matter. Anyways, he's getting increasingly flustered because now the class is starting to make fun of him, being like, yeah, dude, I just know you're poor even though I don't know you at all. And so somewhere in his mind, he's like, I've really got to go up. I've really got to go up and just try to insult this man, put him in his place, let him know that I know he's poor. I don't know why it would matter even if he was, but he decides to just be like, well, I know that you don't have any money by the smell of you. You just smell like a poor person. Which, I mean, I'm not even sure what that means, bro. You smell poor? Like, what even is the smell of poor? Could you describe that? Axe body spray and ramen noodles. Like, how do you even know what a poor person would smell like? Even then, I don't understand why people get so caught up in how much money someone has. Even if someone has less money than you, it doesn't mean they're just wrong by default. Like, that's not a good response. Yes, you've made a logical point that has shown my logic to be false. Well, you're poor. Like, it doesn't change the fact that they were still right. Either way, obviously, everybody is kind of like, bro, what do you even mean? Like, you smell poor people? What does that mean? And he starts going off about how when you're as rich and successful as him and his family is, you just have the ability to smell poorness on somebody. And a lot of people in the class are starting to get pissed off because it's not like everyone at this school is loaded, all right? It's not one of those schools where everyone in the student parking lot is driving something that cost like, I don't know, the down payment on a pretty nice house. That's just not pretty commonplace. So a lot of people are starting to get irritated, and some of them are like, dude, do you consider me a friend? And he's like, yeah. They're like, well, I'm poor. Do you smell it on me? And he starts saying, well, that's different. That's different. And listen, man, you can either smell poor or you can't. You can't be like, I smell poor. And then when someone goes, oh, so you think I'm smelly? Be like, well, no. Because if they're poor, you would be able to smell them. Like, hypothetically, let's pretend that this X-Men power is a thing. He can sniff net worths. Either way, at that point, the teacher takes control back of the class and he's like, you either need to apologize or you can go to the office and explain what you said, because I'm just not going to be spoken to that way anymore. I'm your teacher and there's not much I can do to get rid of you until the school year ends, but I'm just not gonna let you like talk down to me and start saying things like you can smell poor people. That's absurd, and you need to learn that even if someone has less money than you, it doesn't make them less of a person. Which I feel like we all could kind of use right now. Not like individually, I'm just saying society-wise. People are like, well, who cares? They got the bag, though. Yeah, man, which is fair. Hey, get the bag. I'm supportive of that. That being said, just because someone got the bag doesn't mean that they now have magic powers where they can walk on water, do no wrong, and are literally the second coming of everything you've ever desired. If you got the bag, then good for you, man. Congratulations, but there's no reason to be marching around being like, oh, the stupid poor's just smelling up my air with their poor person breath and their poor person sweat. It just makes you look silly. If you got the bag, go enjoy it. I've never understood why people get the bag and then continue to be like involved in all this drama and problems and whatnot. You're rich. Just go do whatever you want. As for what happened after that, he kind of dropped the whole money act. I don't know if the principal told him something or what, but what probably happened is the principal found out, told his parents, and his parents were like, no, 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 no. I'm rich. You're not rich. More parents have to do that. If your kid starts becoming an entitled person, being like, oh, I have so much money, you need to just sit them down and tell them, you don't have any money. You own nothing. I own everything. And if you don't change the behavior, I'll change my will so you get nothing. I think spoiled kid behavior would massively change if that was the threat instead. You know, either behave yourself or you don't get anything in your inheritance. Watch how fast that attitude would change. It would go from you smells poor to like, sir, may I clean your shoes? It would be my honor to be able to appreciate a teacher of your caliber. Either way, I just thought you guys would enjoy that one. It's not every day someone starts being like, I can smell the poor. Either way, if you did enjoy the story time, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. And if you're also new, then definitely be sure to never miss another video again, okay? If you miss even one, it'll be tragic. You don't want to know. Ask anyone in the comments, all right, what happens if you miss a video. It's bad. Either way, if you like listening to the story times but prefer the audio versions, you can check out the audio versions I post on Spotify, link down below. And I've also got a playlist down below here on YouTube of some of my favorite story times of the year, so you guys can watch that if you're playing video games, homework, chores, whatever it may be. Check that out. But yeah, on that note, that'll do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.